"Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life." This quote, commonly attributed to Confucius, encompasses the human desire to pursue our interests while still reaping benefits. It implies that we do not need to make many sacrifices to pursue our passions. However, every success requires a sacrifice, and oftentimes following our dreams, no matter how fulfilling, can come at a price. Trish Alexander, a former competitive figure skater, stepped off the ice and onto the hardwood in June of 1999 when she established Skate Journeys. Skate Journeys Skate School, originating in the 60-square-foot back room of Bellevue's Skate King, began with just one person and her vision.
I ran it as just my own company until 2009 when we decided to make it a nonprofit, because then we could do classes sort of everywhere, not just for people who could afford it. So next year will be our 20th anniversary. And Skate Instructors Association certifies people to become skate instructors, and Skate Journeys has instructors that teach classes.
In truth, the original name for Skate Journeys was Later Skater Productions. Although her license plate still reads Later Skater to this day, Trish wanted to give her new business an official name.
So I couldn't sleep one night, and so I thought, well, if I'm going to be a skate school, I should come up with a name that makes a lot of sense. And so I sat and wrote in my journal and everything, all these different names, all these things that I liked, and I just kept and then all of a sudden Skate Journeys popped on the thing, and I was just like, the whole point of teaching people how to skate is to let them have their own journey. So in about 2001, right in there is when I came up with the name.
Based in Seattle, Trish's first couple of classes took place outdoors with an emphasis on teaching adults how to work on their balance.
Someone saw me skating and said, hey, if I pay for your certification, would you be willing to teach for me? And it was urban surf at Gasworks Park. And my first class had 28 people in it. And it was in an area with lots of duck poop and all that. And I had all the notes on what I was supposed to say written down on my hand. I had like a little cheat sheet because there's a lot of stuff to remember.
Trish initially hadn't planned on teaching skating. After all, she had just picked it up decades after she last competed. Before opening Skate Journeys, she still had a full-time job.
So I was working at the law firm as a litigation paralegal and a private detective, and I was making really good money, and I had a really great job, and I was using my degree and everything. But once I started teaching one class, I started teaching more and more and more, and I started having like this whole community of skaters. So I quit that job to run the skate school the first year, and I only made $6,000. And the year prior, I made like $89,000. I stayed with a friend for a year so that I didn't have to pay for rent and things like that. I sold my condo. So I had some real struggles in the beginning.
It got to the point where she had to find a job in Portland, Oregon to prevent herself from going bankrupt. However, with help from friends and family, Trish was able to keep running Skate Journeys with more and more efficiency. In 2008, Skate Journeys became a 501c3 nonprofit organization, a step that has helped it thrive even 10 years later.
Because we became a nonprofit, we had some contributions. We were able to hire like a real bookkeeper, someone to do human resources. So it gets easier to run the more people that have taken jobs. So it's not just like me running it. That was what was so difficult, was I did everything for a long time, and I'm not good at some of that stuff. So it's really good to hire other people.
But even with a solid business plan, other obstacles still got in the way. For Trish specifically, those obstacles manifested themselves as life-threatening injuries.
When I was 40, I blew the meniscus out of my knee, and when I was 41, I blew the meniscus out of the other knee. And then I had a sepsis blood infection in 2013, and everyone thought the school would just go away because they actually were concerned that I would survive.
Upon the closing of Skate King in 2015, Skate Journeys continued its success by seeking new locations and offering classes through Skate PE programs. From skating at the dingy facilities at Skate King to holding certifications on the stage of the Paramount Theater, Skate Journeys has established itself as the largest skate school of its kind in North America. Through her lessons and instructor certifications, Trish has made an impact on not only myself, but many of my peers. Both on and off wheels, she has empowered us to find ourselves on our own personal journey.
I've been pretty clear that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Really expanding what's possible for people on skate. But I think all along I've really understood that I have been doing it for all the right reasons, and that I'm the one that can do it.
Today in this documentary, we'll be following a story like hers, a story of business owners who gave up something major to follow their dreams, further their interests, and pursue their passions. Success can manifest itself in many ways. One is on wheels, the other is in pounds of flour, butter, and sugar. Midori Bakery is a local patisserie specializing in classic French pastries, desserts, and modern wedding cakes. Their inviting displays welcome passers-by into the warm cafe, and the enticing aromas of caramelized butter and spices swirl through the air. Owners and bakers of Midori, Morgan Gedwa and her husband Jeremy, opened their retail store 4 years ago, but it has already become a staple in the Redmond community. Morgan didn't initially plan on becoming a bakery owner, however.
From high school, I went to college. I was pre-med, so I have a degree in human physiology. Actually, a lot of our bakers are career changers from the med world. I think that there's a lot of similarities with the science behind baking and the attention to detail and the technical skills, so we actually see a lot of people jumping. After college, I did end up going to culinary school. I started over in West Seattle at South Seattle Community College just to see if it was something I was interested in and truly wanted to pursue that change. So after I was actually working out in West Seattle, that's where I met Jeremy. The two of us moved to Chicago and I went to the French pastry school. Then with Jeremy's background, he knows more American baking, German style, a lot more technical science baking. Together we were able to create this kind of more unique French style patisserie.
The bakery, as with all other small businesses, had a humble beginning.
We opened the whole place as actually Midori Cake Boutique. Midori is my middle name. So I still had a job, Jeremy still had another full-time job, and I pretty much just did wedding cakes on the side. And then once we opened up our production spot off of Willows Road, then we were able to open up on the weekends for just really, really limited hours. But my first memories of that were, we were so excited when a car would pull up and we could sell, 6 cookies and 3 ham and cheese croissants, and our little platter sold out. That was huge for us. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, this is actually working. People are coming back. We're getting return customers. But, that very, very first day, I think we made like $50. It was just so exciting to finally have your name on a building and be working for yourself. You work hard for other people. You put in time and hours for somebody else, but it's never ever the same as working for yourself. So
the bakery's growth continued, especially after its move from Willows Road to its current central location in Redmond Square. Nowadays, the morning rush on weekends sees long lines filled with eager customers, some new and some returning. However, not everything is sweet in the pastry industry. The English word sacrifice has its roots in the Latin term sacrificium, combining the ideas of sacred things and performing actions. Widely associated with religion, sacrifices are performed in order to absolve someone of their sins or to attempt to change the course of fate. The modern interpretation of sacrifices has evolved to reflect more than just a religious outlook. A sacrifice can be seen as an act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else.
Everybody thinks of the financial challenge, but then there's the emotional challenge, there's the mental challenge, there's the social challenge. There's so many different aspects of opening your own business. Mentally, are you prepared to sacrifice a social life, sacrifice relationships, sacrifice time, your free time? I think for me, I was young. I was 24 when I opened this. It was a huge change from being kind of super out there, very involved, to getting married and opening a business when I was 24. And then now your business becomes your life. My husband and I were just in it 7 days a week, around the clock.
It might seem like an exaggeration when she says she works around the clock, but baking may take longer than you think.
Baking is a 24-hour job. So when other people are playing for the weekend and for holidays, that's when we're working. When other people are sleeping, that's when we're working. Baking, people always ask, what time do you get up in the morning? It's not a morning thing. We start at 8 or 9 o'clock at night and go through the night into the morning, so that way product can be garnished and baked and in the case, and everything is set up by 6 a.m. So there's a constant game of figuring out your timing, figuring out, has this been pulled to room temperature? Has this been put into the fridge? Has this been put into the proofer? And you kind of work backwards. And then by the time you run your shop, and by the time you close your shop down at 6 o'clock at night, it's time to start working for the next day at 7, 8 o'clock at night again. So it is a sacrifice of time It's a sacrifice of sleep. It's a sacrifice of multiple things that I think a lot of people don't understand. And I don't think I understood when we first opened, which is why we just did weekends. For the most part, people don't realize this, but I have somebody who's working either the midnight bake, the overnight shift, the late night shift. There's always at least one, if not two people at my bakery 24 hours a day.
Even beyond exhausting 120-hour work weeks, small businesses are also heavily impacted by city development. Redmond Square, Midori's current retail location, is slated to be torn down at the end of the year, and they are currently considering options for future business plans. However, until then, Morgan won't let this get in the way of giving back to the community.
So you have home and you have work or you have school, and then you have that third place. So whether it's that place you go to read or that place you go to study or that place you go to hang out or meet a friend, we always wanted to be that third place for people. And I think that over these past few years, we have become that.
Small groups of customers ranging from high school students to old friends have met up in the bakery, catching up and enjoying their time together. Morgan has been able to be a part of something bigger, a part of others' lives, and she has been able to share her talent and passion through pastries.
I think that the bakery is an outlet for creativity. It's this constant creativity stretch to figure out what the new item is, and we always have our core items that we sell, but our creativity comes through holiday specials. We found that we can play around with different combinations like Easter. So for example, this year our Easter was a Saint Germain elderflower with yuzu, and it was a robin's egg shape, and it had this kind of robin's egg and blue speckled look. The bakery has increased my and Jeremy's passion to see what the next new thing is. And I think, again, it's about constantly educating yourself. It's about constantly staying on trend or trying to be at the cutting edge. And that's what excites us. That's why we want to continue to be here and be in this industry, is to just push the boundaries, make us the best. How can we be the best? You know, people are always going to be opening up new shops, and there's plenty of business in town for multiple bakeries, multiple coffee shops, multiple cake decorators. But what will set you apart from everybody else? What will make a customer choose to spend $1 at your place instead of somebody else's? And that's the thrill. That's what keeps you motivated to keep pushing forward.
Following your dreams and doing what you love is ultimately rewarding. And in life, there is no better feeling than to share this joy with others, even if it comes at a cost. After all, in life there will be risks to take, sacrifices to make, and as always, pastries to bake.
It's a learning opportunity. I don't think you should ever regret anything. I think it makes you stronger, it makes you smarter, it makes you sometimes more cautious, sometimes more bold, but you should always be able to move in a forward direction.